Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm back from vacation and let me tell you, I really needed that. I've just been real busy with work lately. And having this vacation gave me a week off where I really didn't have to worry about anything and just let me recharge my gears and everything. But here I am, and let me tell you, I really have a lot of good content coming this month of July, so stay tuned. So without further ado, getting right into chapter 11, the title is titled True Power. And it has a menacing picture of Hidari on the cover, which is pretty badass in my opinion. So chapter 11 picks up where chapter 10 left off, with Jura and Himawari engaging with each other, with Himawari accessing Kurama's power from within the tail beast plane within her mind. We see that Shikadai was instantly shocked that Himawari's leg had healed because he had clearly seen Jura snap her leg. And also, as you know, regarding Inojin, he will live as Himawari instantly healed him before confronting Jura in battle. Jura remarks in this chapter how Himawari's healing prowess far exceeds that of a regular Jinchuriki and is more like the Jubi themselves. Or Bijou rather. As shocked as Shikadai was that Himawari's leg has healed, he was even more shocked that Inojin's wound has closed. And that's where Himawari told Chocho and Shikadai that she'll handle Jura and that they should just get out of there, to where Shikadai agrees. Jura seems to like that Shikadai was being reasonable, as he said that he hopes that he and Shikadai meet again someday in the future. So that could potentially be foreshadowing them meeting again in later chapters down the line of the story. So I really like this chapter as a whole because it gave a clear answer to one of the questions I've had over the years, and that's regarding Hidari and his Rinnetgan and him using the Chidori. So when Hidari and Sarada confront each other and Sarada uses the Chidori on Hidari, Hidari is observing Sarada and they end up exchanging in this chapter that Hidari, he can't actually perfect the Chidori because he doesn't have the Sharingan's insight. But the question it answered for me was, I was thinking like that the Rinnetgan already had the Sharingan's Eye of Insight already built in, and that when the Naruto series started and the Sharingan was introduced, that the Sharingan slowly built up to the Rinnetgan. And that's true to an extent, because the Sharingan does naturally evolve into the Rinnetgan, going from Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan to Rinnetgan respectively. However, it does seem to be, as of now, that the Rinnetgan does lack some things that the Sharingan have, which is the Eye of Insight. But just how me, myself, have consumed the series, I believe that since Sasuke has evolved his Sharingan all the way up to the Rinnetgan that Hagoromo bestowed onto him, that his Rinnetgan should still be able to track movements and everything. It even has Tomoe like a Sharingan, so I think that's even more so the case. But we do know that as of this chapter that the Rinnetgan does lack some things that the Sharingan has. And I guess you could also say that's why Pain, or Nagato rather, didn't have the Eye of Insight and he couldn't track individual movements like the Sharingan could. But I guess all that is answered in this chapter, isn't it? But I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, moving on, this is a heavy battle chapter, as we see that Himawari and Jura are really going at it in the panels. We see that Jura and Himawari are really going at it, as they're both firing off-tail beast bombs at each other. While in the manga panels, things did seem a bit even at first between both of them. Jura quickly showed that he was just playing around with Himawari and proceeded to dominate the battle, while declaring that Himawari's development is astounding, as well as proclaiming that Himawari has made him want to test his true power. Kurama then remarks that Jura isn't the type of opponent they can win against, even with Himawari's great potential, and says this might just be the end for them. We then cut to Delta and Kawaki, who are flying towards Himawari's location. Delta keeps bugging Kawaki, saying that if you couldn't do anything to Jura earlier, Kawaki, what could you possibly do now? And Kawaki doesn't really have anything to say against that, Other than that, he'll do what he can against Jura. Then, to both Kawaki and Delta's surprise, Boruto immediately rushes ahead of both of them and swiftly saves Himawari from Jura. Then immediately afterwards, Boruto uses the Flying Raijin to hop to Sarada's location and proceeds to cut Hidari's arm, freeing Sarada from his grasp. The chapter then ends with Jura and Hidari berating Boruto Otsutsuki. So chapter 11 was definitely a banger. I really liked it, especially the explanation on the Rinnetgan not possessing the Sharingan's Eye of Insight, meaning the Sharingan is automatic, a new and separate jutsu, or dojutsu rather, from the Rinnetgan. The Sharingan is a mutation from giving the Rinnetgan to humans, or mating otsutsuki with humans. And I really am interested in what Hidari would gain if he did indeed devour Sarada. Like, would he get a new form of a Rinne Sharingan, or something along those lines, combining the Sharingan's Eye of Insight with the Rinnetgan, giving Hidari essentially what Sasuke got from the Sage of the Sixth Paths. So before this chapter even came out, I was under the assumption we were going to end chapter 11 off with a showdown between Jura and Kawaki, with Kawaki finally getting to Himawari's location. And then I believe that Hidari would face off against Boruto and Sarada. But I do have a small prediction for chapter 12 when it does come out. So in chapter 12, once again, Boruto and Kawaki will be in the same location, meaning both of them can't fight simultaneously against Jura and Hidari, because one uses the karma and one doesn't. And Boruto also has not mastered his karma yet. Not to the extent that Kawaki has anyway. But given these circumstances, there's a very small possibility that Borushiki could emerge in the next coming chapters. Just because we know when Boruto loses control, that's when Momoshiki takes over. But that wasn't the prediction I was talking about going into chapter 12. My prediction is that Jura, upon seeing Kawaki and doing battle with him, will name drop the Kokugan, or Kurugan, however you want to call it. Because last month when the name of Kawaki's dojutsu was revealed, I was under the assumption that since they finally name dropped the dojutsu, that Jura or one of the Shinju would name drop it in the manga. And since the chapter where the new Shinju were revealed, Jura did actually name drop the Sharingan when Aida was spying on all of them. So if Jura knows about the Sharingan, I'm pretty sure he knows about the Kurugan or Kokugan. As for how the fight's gonna go, I can't really say how it's gonna go just because of all the circumstances everybody's in right now. Everybody's all in one place. And with Jura probably gonna come to Hidari's location next chapter, it's kind of hard to say how everything's gonna pan out. But I do know for a fact that Boruto and Kawaki are at disadvantage while they're near each other. At this point in Two Blue Vortex, I'm fairly certain that Kawaki doesn't have access to the Horned State version 2 of Karma, meaning he can't passively go into Karma V2. But if Kawaki goes into battle with Jura, I'm fairly sure that Jura will be able to bring the claw or the Horned State out of Kawaki. Just because when Kawaki is under dire stress, that's when the horn protrudes. Also, when Jura name drops the Kokugan, like I believe he will, I believe he'll actually ask Kawaki why he's only using it one type of way, when he can use it several type of ways. But since Kawaki doesn't even know the origins of the dojutsu, he doesn't know how to properly harness its latent potential. And that goes back to Kawaki's training with Jigen in Boruto Part 1. Jigen/Ishiki did train Kawaki on using the karma, however he never trained Kawaki on using the abilities, or even his dojutsu at that point. I believe Kawaki has the physical portion of mastering the karma seal down, with his body being a literal scientific ninja tool, as well as being able to house Ishiki's karma seal. But going forward, Kawaki will need to train to go into the Horned State at will with his karma seal, as well as utilizing the Kokugan to its fullest extent. But how did you guys like this chapter? I honestly have a couple more videos in the work, so I'm not going to put all my thoughts out on this video. But I will have a couple more videos drop before chapter 12 drops. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How did you like this chapter? And do you believe Jura will name drop the Kokugan next chapter? See you in the next video. Later, guys.
俺は忍びだ。